Hi there, these comments are for PA, and I am Michael from OTCOnlineTOEFLcourse.com. I have the actual integrated writing rubrics right here. I also have the essay that you sent me, and I'm going to put you at 3.0 out of 5, 20 points out of 30. So if we go back to the rubrics here, we have some points made in the lecture. The reading may be incomplete, inaccurate, or imprecise. It says errors of usage or grammar may be more frequent or may result in a noticeably vague expression of obscure meanings in conveying ideas and connections. And the answer is yes to this. This is a problem. So let me give you one example in your essay. You say in the next paragraph, first of all, according to the reading, the oil rigs and industrial chemicals created pollution in the area leading, you want to put leading to the death of sea otters. As sea otters cannot resist, I don't think you need the to there. They cannot resist life-threatening infections. Such infections can cause their death. On the other hand, the lecture disputes disputes the idea that these marine animals are dying because of infections caused by pollution. Instead, the speaker claims, the way that you wrote it, it looks like the speaker was disputing the idea of the predator hypothesis, right? So I had to straighten this out here, so I think we have it. It says, as sea otters cannot resist life-threatening infections, such infections can cause their death. On the other hand, the lecture disputes the idea that these marine animals are dying because of infections caused by pollution. Instead, the speaker claims, that sea otters' decline is consistent with predator hypothesis. Because scientists found relics of sea otters at sea, yeah, this is a problem. You have to combine these two sentences so you don't have that fragment. Let's look at it. Instead, the speaker claimed that sea otters' decline is consistent with a predator hypothesis because scientists found relics of sea otters at sea. And I'm going to get rid of cause, which, and it looks like past tense, which were not washed up by shore yet. This clearly depicts, I'm going to say proves, this clearly proves, according to the speaker, that sea otters were attacked by predators. So I think this is just too many. I had to do too many things to this paragraph to make it work. So that's why I scored you at 3.0 out of 5 or 20 points out of 30. Is some of your grammatical issues were actually communicating the opposite idea of what you're trying to communicate. So be careful. And don't forget to put those voice markers like this clearly proves, according to the speaker, that sea otters were attacked by predators. So then we know that this is not your argument. So I think that my score is pretty accurate here. 3.0 out of 5, 20 points out of 30. So The main thing here is just make sure your notes are complete and accurate, but then when you're paraphrasing and summarizing, make sure you're not changing the meaning of either the reading or the listening passage. You're not leaving out any important information. Now we're listening to your integrated speaking task. I think this is number 2. So it's reading, listening, speaking, campus related. So it's not too complicated with the vocabulary. And I also have the integrated speaking rubrics right here so I can give you an estimated score. All right, let's see how you did. So let's listen to the whole thing one time. Then the second time I'll give you more comments.
University has planned to prohibit eating in class, and one of the students disagrees with this. He proposes his ideas in university letter, and he says that it will be better. Student will get better concentration in class if they allowed to eat food in class, and also they can have parties at the end of every semester. But however, in listening section, student completely disagrees with that. He gives following 2 reasons. First of all, he says that students can have snack if they are hungry instead of food, because food will make other students get distracted and it will lose their concentration. The second thing he says that there will be review of final exam at the end of at the end lecture of every semester, so it will make them more prepared toward the exam, and hence ultimately he disagrees with the idea.
Okay, so I don't think you're quite in the 3 range. You still have to solve a few problems, I think, with your delivering your language use. I think you're doing a little bit better with the topic development. I like how you include an introduction this time, right? You explain the reading and the listening before you move to the most important points in the reading passage. Okay, let me look at it. Let me listen to it one more time here.
University has planned to prohibit
I would say the university or a university.
eating in class, and one of the students disagrees with this. He proposes his ideas in
And one of the students disagrees with this policy.
university letter, and he says that it will be better. Student will get better concentration in class if they allowed to eat food in class, and also they can have parties.
Okay, let's go back. Did you talk about the policy?
University has planned to prohibit eating in class, and one of the students disagrees with this. He proposes his ideas in university letter, and he says that it will be better. Student will get better.
No, why not talk about what the key ideas are according to the policy? Let's talk about the policy just briefly, and then you can show how the student disagrees with that policy.
Concentration in class if they allowed to eat.
If they are allowed to. So don't forget your passive voice. Passive voice is formed by using the be verb and then the past participle. So a form of the be verb, in this case, are allowed to
Food in class, and also they can have parties at the end of every semester.
Okay, when you say parties, not parties, but you need to pronounce that P with more air. Parties.
But however, in listening section, student completely disagrees with that. He gives following 2 reasons.
So you were talking about the reading passage first. That kind of threw me off. Just make sure that you include those voice markers. The author or the policy explains. Another point in the policy is finally the university newsletter explains. Put maybe a few more voice markers in there so we can know that you are talking about the campus policy.
Yes. First of all, he says that students can have snack if they are hungry instead of food, because food will make other students get distracted and it will lose their concentration. The second thing he says that
You might say food will make other students distracted. You might say thereby causing them to lose their concentration, maybe, or which will cause them to lose their concentration. So you need to use a little bit more advanced grammar. You're using these kind of simple sentences one after the other.
there will be review of final exam at the end lecture at the and lecture of every semester. So it will make them more prepared toward the exam, and hence ultimately he disagrees with the idea.
Okay, so even when you're talking about what the student's opinion is as he reacts to the new policy, you can probably put more voice markers in there which acknowledge the student's ideas. Okay, so I think on this one, I'm going to put you at about 17 to 18 points out of 30. With language use, be careful about active versus passive voice. Make sure you know how to form passive voice. Delivery, you're still having some problems with pacing and also intonation. So you can probably work on that a little bit more. I think that's going to be helpful. You can study intonation, pronunciation lessons 36 through 40. And to learn more about pacing, you can study pronunciation lessons 41 through 44. Okay. All right. Thank you for completing this practice test.